John and Bobby joined a wholesale company together just after graduation from college the same year. Both worked very hard. After several years, however, the boss promoted Bobby to the position of manager, but John remained an ordinary employee. John could not take it anymore, tendered his resignation to the boss, and complained. The boss did not know how to delegate and did not value hard-working staff, but only promoted those who flattered him. The boss knew that John worked very hard for the years. He thought a moment and said, "Thank you for your criticism, but I have a request. I hope you will do one more thing for our company before you leave. Perhaps you will change your decision and take back your resignation." John agreed. The boss asked him to go and find out anyone selling watermelon in the market. John went and returned soon. He said he had found out a man selling watermelon. The boss asked how much per kilogram. John shook his head and went back to the market to ask and returned to inform the boss. $1.2 per kilogram. Boss told John to wait a second, and he called Bobby to come to his office. He asked Bobby to go and find anyone selling watermelon in the market. Bobby went, returned, and said, "Boss, only one person selling watermelon. $1.2 per kilogram, $10 for 10 kilogram. He has inventory of 340 melons. On the table are 58 melons. Every melon weighs about 2 kilogram. Bought from the south 2 days ago. They are fresh and red. Good quality." John was very impressed and realized the difference between himself and Bobby. He decided not to resign but to learn from Bobby. My dear friends, a more successful person is more observant, thinks more, and explores in depth. Chances exist in the daily details. For the same matter, a more successful person sees more and farther so that he can find out an opportunity and catch it to realize his aim. If a person sees 1 year ahead while another sees only tomorrow, the difference between a year and a day is 365 times. How could you win?
One day, a father and his young daughter went shopping at a grocery store. There was a tray of fresh strawberries that looked very tempting. The little girl got excited when she saw them and asked her father to buy some strawberries. The father checked his pocket and, although he didn't have much money, he had enough to buy a small box of strawberries. After buying the strawberries, the daughter couldn't wait to open the box and picked up a strawberry to eat. The father gently said, "Honey, can you share some strawberries with Daddy?" The daughter paused, looked at her father, then looked at the strawberry in her hand. The father thought to himself that perhaps she was too young to understand sharing. Just then, the little girl put the strawberry back in the box, picked out 2 other larger and redder ones, handed one to her father, and held on to the other one herself. She said, "Daddy, this one is for you. It looks the tastiest." The father was at a loss for words, moved and also somewhat ashamed, as he had underestimated his daughter's generosity and kindness. This story shows that in family life, we should not be quick to judge children's actions, but rather observe and understand more, thereby fostering their positive qualities. A man had a lovely daughter, and he doted on her deeply because she was the only family he had in the world. One day his daughter fell ill. He was so anxious that he immediately took her to see a doctor. However, the doctor told him that with the current level of medical technology, it was impossible to cure her illness. The man broke down in tears upon hearing this, but he did not give up. Instead, he took his daughter to seek medical help everywhere. Nevertheless, all his efforts were futile, and the little girl eventually passed away due to her illness. Since then, the father had become a changed man. He locked himself in his room and lived in sorrow. Every day, he drank heavily all day and refused any concern from his friends. One night, he had a dream. In the dream, he went to heaven and witnessed a grand celebration of little angels. The angels formed a line and passed by a large white throne. Each of them held a candle in their hands. He noticed that one little angel's candle was not lit. Curious, he walked closer and found that the little angel was actually his daughter. Tears streamed down his face as he excitedly hugged her and looked at her tenderly. He asked Baby, "Why is only your candle not lit?" She replied, "Daddy, they often try to relight my candle, but your tears always put it out." At that moment, he woke up with a start, and his eyes were blurred with tears, but the dream also taught him a lesson from then on. From then on, he no longer indulged in negativity, but faced life positively. His friends were happy to see him emerge from despair, and from then on, his daughter's candle was never extinguished by his tears again. On a cold night, a billionaire encountered a destitute old man outside his mansion. The billionaire asked with concern, "Aren't you cold? You don't even have a coat on." The old man replied softly, "I have no warm clothes, but I am used to it." Feeling pity, the billionaire said, "Wait here for me. I will go home and bring you a warm coat." Grateful, the old man smiled and responded, "I will wait for you here, sir." However, once the billionaire returned home, he got caught up in other affairs and gradually forgot about the old man. It wasn't until the next morning that he suddenly remembered his promise. He hurriedly went out to look for the old man, but tragically, he found that the old man had frozen to death on the street overnight. Beside him, there was a note with shaky handwriting that read, "I could endure the cold without warm clothes because I was used to it. But after you promised to help me, I depended on your promise, which made me lose my strength to resist the cold." This story serves as a profound reminder. Do not lightly make promises that you cannot keep. What might seem trivial to us could mean the world to someone else. A man married a beautiful girl. He loved her very much. One day, she developed a skin disease. Slowly, she started to lose her beauty. It so happened that one day her husband left for a tour. While returning, he met with an accident and lost his eyesight. However, their married life continued as usual. But as days passed, she lost her beauty gradually. Blind husband did not know this, and there was not any difference in their married life. He continued to love her, and she also loved him very much. One day she died. Her death brought him a great sorrow. He finished all her last rites and wanted to leave that town. A man from behind called and said, "Now how will you be able to walk all alone? All these days your wife used to help you." He replied, "Well, I'm not blind. I was acting because if she knew I could see her. Skin condition due to a disease. It would have pained her more than her disease. I didn't love her for her beauty alone, but I fell in love with her caring and loving nature. So I pretended to be blind. I only wanted to keep her happy." Moral of the story: when you truly love someone, you will go to any extent to keep your loved one happy. And sometimes it is good for us to act blind and ignore one another's shortcomings. In order to be happy, the beauty will fade with time, but heart and soul will always be the same. Love the person for what she is from inside, not from outside.